Welcome back to Orange Cups Podcast, guys. 2025 spring. I promise that we will be back, and here we are. Today, I have a special guest for 2025 first episode, Shantae Menedez.
What's going on? What's going on?
What's up, man?
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on.
Of
I
course.
appreciate you.
It's dope.
Um, CEO of Jamila Reine Models.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
That's a lot, man. We're going to get into that.
The whole thing's a lot.
The whole title, CEO, like, it's a big one.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But before we get into that, I like to start off with childhood, just to get a little background on you.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So the audience can hear how your story started, the things that created you, the things that made you, the things that broke you and made you, reborn
We
again.
got a box of tissues?
Yeah, I mean,
Nah. I like that.
You
That's
know?
dope.
can you tell us a little about where you grew up and what your family dynamic was like?
Absolutely. So I grew up in West New York, Hudson County. I grew up with my grandma. My mom had me very young, at like 15. So I grew up with my grandma. My grandma raised me, obviously having kids that young, you got to go to school, have two jobs and figure stuff out. My dad was young too. So I was always with my grandma. I basically learned how to speak Spanish. It was always grandma, grandma, grandma. And then, as I got older, kind of just figuring out, my dynamic as a person. Obviously growing up with my grandma, wearing dresses, hair in a ponytail. She was more like, not the like strict, but that was, I knew like growing up I couldn't, like I was already feeling different, so I couldn't do that with my grandma. But then also being raised with my aunt all the time, bouncing from house to house, being taken care of. I felt more free with my aunt and my uncle. My family dynamic was always, everyone was together, everybody helped each other, and me being the only baby, I was always spoiled. So I had my grandma, I had my grandfather, I had my aunt and my uncle, and both sides were always there. So I grew up really family orientated. Like I really was everywhere, being the first baby.
Got it. So at what age did you start to feel a little different or kind of notice something was changing?
I would say around 11 years old, 11, 12 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like stopped doing the whole pigtails, and I kind of just wanted to wear my hair up or put it in a ponytail, and kind of stray away from like the tight jeans and like the tight shirts. I kind of just wanted to be in a hoodie and sweatpants. Like my attire growing up as from 11 to like 16 was always hoodies and sweatpants and sneakers.
Got it.
That was it.
How did your grandma like accept the change, seeing you slowly go from like the tight pants and the ponytails that she used to put you into, and then like boom, like all of a sudden it's sweatpants, t-shirts?
So my great grandmother, like I said, she obviously knew already
Mm-hmm.
the path I was going into. She would tell my mother like she's gonna be gay, and at that time, like I was just trying to figure myself out, and my mom would help in that sense and getting the clothes that I wanted. And I guess with my grandma, I could kind of tell it would bother her, and I knew I was being talked about. So like when I was there, I had to like wear certain type of stuff, just to keep it kosher.
Yeah.
And then leaving, like I was just, like I said, I would be myself. So I kind of respected her household. I respected her views, but I know it wasn't easy to accept that the little girl that she was raising was changing into more of a masculine presenting female. So
I resonate with that a lot because I kind of did that with my grandmother. I was like, around her, I would wear the tight pants and stuff, and more so because during those days, it wasn't really accepted that you had like a masculine presenting female. So like, but outside of her, I would dress the way I wanted to dress. So it's like,
right.
I definitely resonate with that. It's hard to want to break somebody's heart for not being who they want you to be, but at the same time, you have to live your truth. And knowing that young is like, it's hard because you really don't have control of what you're going to wear yet because they're buying your clothes.
Right.
But your mom was supportive, and I love that.
Yeah.
So who was the most influential figures in your early years, and what kind of impact did they make on you?
Oh my God. Definitely my uncle Leo, who passed away 10 years ago, 10 years ago. And then my aunt, their brother and sister, was my dad's siblings. Definitely my Uncle Leo. My uncle was someone that helped me embrace who I was, how to wear cologne, how to dress, how to tie a tie.
Yeah.
In the early years, like around 16, 17, I left my house. My parents, my mom and I weren't seeing eye to eye. And of course, who took me in was my aunt and my uncle. And I lived with them. And in those years, like, you know, finally just putting my foot down and being, this is who I am. This is who I, you know, who I want to be, who I feel is me. He was always there. He was always there, just making sure that I accepted, and he's like embraced me and showed me the way on, like I said, just being me, being smooth. You know, how to talk, how to just be you, like in your skin, how to dress. You know,
Right.
what cologne you can wear. You smell good. You gotta be one of the ladies. You know, go out, mingle, and I learned that from him.
A
So
lot of confidence.
that was it. The confidence came from him to me. Yeah.
God bless. What was school like for you? Were you a shy kid, or did you like to be on the spotlight?
So at first I was shy, and then when I got comfortable, I was a class clown. I was a class clown. I would be the straight A student
Mm-hmm.
who would still try to get in trouble, if that makes sense. Like, I was always good in school, always straight A's. My mom could tell you, she was like, you're so good, but you're so bad. And that was just me. And I don't know if that was a part of me seeking attention or being confused, or I don't know. Like, I just felt like I had to start something to get attention.
Right.
But I was always good.
Okay. Were there any creative outlets or passions that you explored growing up?
Music.
Okay.
For sure, music. You know, in middle school, you got to pick either a language or an instrument.
Yeah.
And I did music class for a while. I think, you know, little cheap flutes.
Okay.
And the piano. I started with that, and my first love was music. Yeah, I got the music notes behind my ears.
Yeah. See it.
Yeah, so
Dedicated.
music was definitely my first passion that I found that I really tied to in middle school.
Any sports after that?
Basketball.
Basketball.
Yeah, I was a center. I played all throughout high school. I almost got a scholarship, but I got in trouble my junior year into my senior year, and they took that away from me. So, yeah.
That's why they say your junior year is the most important.
Yeah, yo, it killed me.
Yeah.
Killed me.
I mean, I'm sure it's also a lesson for you growing up. Like, don't lose something you really want and really work at it and stay at it. But we were kids, you know, everybody's a kid. Everybody makes mistakes. That's part of your chapter, your journey.
Yeah, you got to.
How did your childhood experiences shape your view of the world as you grew older?
Wow. I could say that I've been through a lot. I've honestly been through a lot. Whether it was the coming out, whether it was the leaving home early and getting my own apartment, and then getting evicted, then building myself up into music production. And I've been through, like, I could write a book on my life. And I feel like everything that I've gone through has shaped me up to be the boss that I am today. You know, making sure that I have the avenues of income, making sure that there is no stone or, like, not turned. Like, I make sure I cover all my bases. You know, that my wife's good, life's good, money saved, investments, like, everything is good. And I feel like all those past experiences shape me to be the woman I am today.
Exactly.
You know, the business owner, you know, the model, the CEO, whatever. You know.
It's definitely like building bricks.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
And some of them have to fall, right? Especially as a child, and you want to leave home early, and you want to get your own apartment, you want your own place, and you don't want nobody to tell you how you're supposed to live your life. But then the rent comes, and you're like, I wasn't prepared for this. Like,
Right.
I might have survived the first few months, but like, it's running now, and I don't know where to get it from. So, you know, it's an experience, I think, that unfortunately you had to experience in order to be the CEO you are today, the boss you are today, the money management you have today. Make sure your family's good, making sure that there's money in an emergency account just in case something goes left. Like, it's all a part of your story, and it's beautiful, you know. Everybody has a story, and I'd be like, yo, yeah, I don't know what people go through. So, you know, and your story's to be told to the world, so I'm sure somebody's going to resonate. Like, I felt that. What inspired you to start creating food review content?
Oh, my God. Being a big back. No, I'm kidding. So, you know, I've always wanted to do different content. You know, like, everybody knows I started with gym content. I was over 300 pounds. I was figuring out my diet, my weight loss, and I fell in love with the gym, and I started doing gym content. And that was blowing up on my feed. And then little later, you know, that I lost the weight and stuff like that, I was going to do food reviews. And I stopped to get into, like, promoting more of the modeling stuff. And then 6 months ago, another person was like, you have such a good, like, vibe. Like, you have a good voice for, like, voiceovers. you should just do you should just do content, but do voiceovers as you go visit places. So I started with one place in Hackensack. It was called the Sea Moss Factory.
Mm.
I was like, let me give it a shot. Just let me just see. So I went in there. I recorded, met the owner, started recording the content. In a matter of an hour that I posted that reel, it went viral.
Wow.
It went viral. She will tell you herself. Store flooded with customers. People, her store has changed. Her dynamic of her store has changed because of that video, and that's what motivated me to continue to do the food reviews.
What was the best part about reviewing food for you?
For me, it was just the unique flavors, the unique cultures of food.
Mm-hmm.
I've done Pakistani, I've done Italian, I've done some health places. So it's just to be able to know that while I'm there, I'm creating something for their business and to promote and just share their story through the reel, what they're about and their business.
And the variety of food.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Like we all have a story, but it's
Mm-hmm.
really dope to ask. I always ask the owners like, what inspired you to open this up? Like why feed? Why food? And they show their love through their food and through their idea.
Yeah.
So I think it's so dope. I love it.
I think food and music is two big universal languages.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
it
Yeah.
connects
Yes. it
walks of
does.
all life.
Yes, it does.
How has the food review content space evolved since you started, and where do you see it heading?
I see it doing really, really good things. I mean, it's doing really good things right now. I am
Mhm.
getting booked. My videos are hitting higher peaks. Every time I post, it's like 8,000 up, 8,000 up. The one I just posted yesterday hit 10K already.
Wow.
So-
24-hour turnaround.
Yeah, so I'm seeing the results, and like I said, I'm just gonna keep doing it. I've had the pleasure of just from my video helping a business out, more sales, more customers, people coming like, oh, I saw the video, you blew up, like, and that to me makes me feel good.
Good.
I build these connections and these relationships with these businesses. I always come back or I refer them to another business to do like corporate events or like outside events. So I always go back. So it's been amazing.
You keep, and your audience entertained too. So how do you keep refreshed on that part? Like, what am I going to say today about this place?
It comes natural.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a lot of times too from business owners, like they're like, other influencers come in and they sound robotic.
Yeah.
But with you, you're so organic. You're so genuine. Like your voice just tunes you into the review. And I'd be like, does my voice sound that soothing? But then I look back and I'm like, I kind of see what they mean, but it just flows off the tongue because when I go there, I don't just go there to eat and get paid. I go there to meet the owners. I go there to ask about what inspired them to open this. What's about this dish? It could be a grandma's recipe, a late dad's recipe. So it's just cool to put that into the video.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
they can see that I've actually listened to them.
Yeah.
And they love it.
We're going to switch it up a little bit. So tell me, where and how did this modeling agency journey begin, and how did the idea first come to you?
Sheesh. Oh, my God. So I'd say 7 years ago, we're talking about, we're at 2025? My God, the year's flying.
Mm-hmm.
So around 2012, I started my first kind of like a promotion Instagram. I started off as a party planner. So when that burned down and I lost everything, all the resources I had, all the photographers and videographers, I used the Instagram that was for that business, and I switched it and I turned it into Talent on Edge. Talent on Edge I made and I created as a platform to do an online podcast to review entrepreneurs. And I wanted that space to be where if you needed a dancer, you could find them. If you needed a videographer, you can find them. And I was promoting businesses like that, posting their picture, posting their prices, all that. That was doing really good. Then all of a sudden, I got an inquiry about models. And I was like, I don't know. Look at the page. I don't have models. Oh, but you don't have like set people that you can just, refer me to, or like you don't have models under. And I was like, I don't have models. And I was thinking about it, and I was like, maybe I should represent some models. And I started off as my first model was my wife. I started promoting her, and the work was coming out beautiful. Like everyone was loving the photos that came out. From there, from one photo shoot, I found another model. So in total, I ended up with 5 models. And that was Talent on Edge. So aside from the podcast for Talent on Edge, it was also the model roster. I started with 5, very diverse, beautiful models. And then we started getting New York Weekly. we started getting CEO Weekly. I started getting written about. I got contacted to do interviews. Then I started modeling, and I was the fifth model and presenting more masculine, and it was just creating a little bit of a buzz. And I was like, oh my god! And then I left Talent on Edge, and I got the opportunity with Jamila Reine Models 2.5 years ago. It was given to me.
Wow.
The owner, I was supposed to be. I was a model represented under Jamila Reine Models as their first masculine model. And I guess she saw what I was doing with Talent on Edge. Push came to shove. She's like, I can't deal with this agency no more. I want to give it to you because you got experience. I was like, what? She's like, yeah, all my connects, Instagram, we'll do paperwork. It's yours. I can't do this no more. So I took it. I said, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm taking it. So that is the story of how I got Jamila Reine Models. So I didn't create it. I didn't found it, but I took over, and I'm the new owner. So it's been 2.5 years now.
Wow, that's a big blessing in 2.5 years. Like he's a company.
Yeah, here you go. I was like, what?
Did your heart stop a little bit? Like
yeah,
like,
because I didn't know. Like, it's for me. Like I said, I believe in energy. I believe in the universe. I believe in signs. And growing up, I was always called the butterfly. I was always called butterfly. My grandma's always called me, you're a butterfly. You transform into a beautiful woman. Da 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 da. And then when I got the agency, the logo is a butterfly.
Makes sense.
So I just took that in like, this is definitely a sign to take this. And I took it. I left Talent on Edge. Some of the models, we kind of already split up. Some stopped doing it. And, of course, my wife continued with me. And then another model, Stanley, became one of my managers for the agency. And I left Talent on Edge kind of where it's at. The page is still active. There's influencers and people still on there, but I kind of just moved towards Jamila Reine Models, and it's been a beautiful journey.
Only 2.5 years, and you've grown so much.
Yeah, it's scary.
Can you walk us through your earlier days of business, like when that first took off and it was handed over to you? What were some of the first steps you took to get things off the ground?
Honestly, just figuring out the models that I wanted to represent. You know, I kind of knew I was the first masculine presenting model, but if I took this over, I wanted to make it diverse. I wanted diversity. I wanted to take in some short models. I wasn't just about the industry standards. I wanted to break that. And that's what I was doing with Talent on Edge. And I said, you know, this agency is pretty much all females. She had an all-female agency. And I came in and I just wrote down the walls and I said, listen, we're going to build this back up the way that I want to. And it was just, you know, of course, some people left. People were not with it. People didn't want to be part of the, you know, the LGBT, got scared.
Oh,
my. You know, I'm trying to bring in masculine women in and trans models as well, non-binary. And people got scared. Some left. Some connects that she had, photographers left. They didn't want to deal with it. They didn't really like it. I said, okay, we're going to build from the ground up. That's cool. And that's what I did.
You stuck to your true colors.
Absolutely. Yeah. And like I said, I built it from the ground up. And I got beautiful models, diverse, trans models. I got non-binary models. I got masculine models. I got it all. And it took a while, but I did it in a year.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. That's the dedication that I had behind it, you know.
And being able to represent people that people fear, right? Because
Basically,
we live in a world where people fear us. Yeah. So sticking to your guns, I'm so proud of you for that, because a lot of people would break and be like, oh, damn, they don't want to mess with me because I'm messing with the LGBTQ. I am the LGBTQ.
Yeah, double whammy.
What were some of the biggest challenges you faced during your early days?
Of the agency?
Of the agency.
Some bookings, some, like I said, it was mostly just finding out how to market everybody.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted to show people that we are marketable and that we can do the same thing that any industry standard model can do. So a lot of turn downs on brands, I'm not going to say who, but just turning down on different concepts or still trying to demasculinize models in certain projects. Like still wanting the model, but not wanting them in their true color, putting them in this. And it's like, this is why they're here, because we accept that. So it was a lot of no's, and then those no's turned into yeses. So,
how did you tell them no? Like, this is not what we're doing. Like, she's staying the way she looks, and that's it.
So I keep it. I don't like to argue. I'm very non-confrontational. It's very simple. You know, are you okay with this? If not, you know, we can go a different route. Thank you for the opportunity. No disrespect, but you know, we're gonna stay true to what we're about. And if you can't accept the model in this fashion, then we really can't work together. And then of course we're like, all right, let's get another model. And I'm like, nah, like just never mind. You know, I for me that's just like a slap in the face. You know,
Right.
and there've been designers like that. They'll be like, oh, we don't want this model. Never mind. If she's not gonna do this or wear this, then we'll get another model from you. And at that point, I'm just turned off.
Right.
You know, because that's the point. You know, of being genuine and being true to who they are. That's why they're here. This is why I represent them. You know.
Yeah.
So you got to fight for them a little bit.
Right. And not picking the money over.
Yeah, I'm more about the respect and the loyalty.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I wanted to show that. And it's not always about the money. Definitely not.
What are the most difficult aspects of managing everything on your own, from marketing, branding, to production?
What are the difficult?
Maybe the most difficult aspects of it.
Everything. Everything.
I figured.
Everything. I mean, it's hard. I mean, I did it by myself for the first year, figuring out what I wanted to do, how I wanted to market. Then the next following year is when I brought in my whole team. When I say I am so thankful, so grateful, so appreciative of the team that I have, because they cover all those bases. My marketing, my web design, my photography, my, you know, I don't know where, like I told you, like, I don't know where these people came from. Like, I do know, but it's like for them to be able to mesh together and work together, and for them to be able to help me create my vision, it's like they're in my head. Like, I'm very blessed with the team that I have.
You're connected with them.
It's in a whole different level. Like, these individuals are all hardworking. They see my vision, and they're just on it 24/7 with me. So
How do you push through the hard times when, like, things might be going left a little bit? Because nothing's perfect, right? I'm pretty sure you had days where you wanted this booking's going left, or the model, something happened with the model, it's not, you know, and it's not personal, but like they can't make it, or troubleshooting.
Honestly, you got to be honest in those times. You got to be transparent. Things happen, and I'm aware of that. You know, if it's something that the model could have prevented, like lack of communication, that's on you. If it's something else that, you know, flat tire, stuff like that, you know, I get it. I just push through and kind of just be honest with the booking and just let them know, listen, like, let's do this. We can correlate this. I'll take care of this. You'll take, you know what I'm saying? You just got to be a good business person. You know, understand that there's ways to go about it. Of course, there's some times where there's people who are like, you know, never mind. Shut the door in your face and walk out. It is what it is. But if you're able to fix it, let's fix it. That's how I see it. If there's a solution, if there's a way to make a solution, let's do it.
Yeah.
You know? And just my wife, like, just venting, you know? She gives me the most amazing ideas. She talks to me, and she encourages me. And, you know, I think having a good support system when those negative times happen is an amazing thing.
Do you think your wife keeps you grounded?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Does she know when you're starting to turn and, like, your head's going crazy? And
Yeah,
like,
I don't really got to say much. I guess that's the part of like, having a soulmate, right?
Yeah.
Like, someone that's really, really connected, like, what's wrong? Talk to me. What happened? You know? And I'm like, nah, I'm good. Nah, talk to me. What happened? You know? So, yeah, I don't have to say much. She just knows. She'd be like, all right, let's talk about it. What happened?
That's true. Lifetime partner.
Yeah.
Yeah. So your current list of employees, that's listed on your website, and you can update anything that I missed. CEO, right here in the flesh. Chief photographer,
Yes.
4 extra photographers.
Yeah.
Cinematographer.
Yes.
Chief creative and lead stylist.
Yes.
Hairstylist.
Yes.
Barbara.
Yes.
MUA.
Yes.
And a model coach.
Yes.
Tell me about that. How do you...
and the acting coach.
Acting coach as well?
We just
Okay.
added an acting coach, yeah. So, yeah.
How do you assemble a team like that? It's like the Avengers, man.
Yep.
I'm just saying.
Superpowers. No, like I said, like, you know, I go through my process of interviewing people. Some of the Intel team were models, and they ended up also having a background in what they're in right now. So, like, Lauren Domingo, amazing model. And she was the first of many that the company already had. She started with the company, and then her background is the creative, the styling, the marketing. So it just fit perfect for her. And like everybody else, it's, you know, just interviewing and meeting people at different events and people inquiring on how to join the team. So I took that into consideration too, and just seeing how everybody meshed their ideas, the creative concepts be coming together. And the model coach, has been with us already almost now going to be 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. I reached out. I posted, hey, I need a model coach. She responded. Same thing with the acting coach. I got referred literally like 3 months ago of the new acting coach. She's phenomenal, Haley. A phenomenal actress as well. And yeah, I'm building my team. I'm building it little by little, you know.
So you're finding the creatives with creative,
Right.
like the creatives in the creatives.
And I'm
like,
not just hiring anybody.
No.
Like, I'm taking the time to really piece together a really good team.
And they have to fit, like personality wise, like they have to
They're
fit
all
in.
amazing personalities, amazing, just eager to learn, eager to push, eager to teach, eager to just grow with me, and that's amazing.
Yeah, it becomes a family at that
That's
point.
literally what we are. Literally are. You know, we push comes to shove, we argue, we tussle, this and that, but the main goal and what we're doing, it all comes together. Like,
how do you, as a CEO, keep positive engagement with your team?
so just positive messages, positive affirmations. We have a group chat. I have a group chat with all of my team. So I have my JRM management team group chat, and then I have my JRM glam team group chat, and then I have my JRM photographer, videographer group chat on my phone. And, I just let them know I'm proud of them. Even when I see them, I say thank you so much. And, we collaborate on different ideas. Also, like I said, some of them are models, so helping them get more paid shoots and, giving them access to stuff for the company that they can get paid from, So,
Yeah.
but for the most part, I keep them motivated and we help each other out. So I always say thank you. Till I'm blue in the face.
Yeah, thank you goes a long way. A lot of people don't notice that.
Absolutely, yeah. And then we get together. We have different events, like my birthday just passed. Then we had different housewarming that I invited most of them, my main management, to come over. So I include them. They're like my family. So I welcome them into that.
Definitely building a different type of relationship with them, not just only like, you're keeping it professional, but also when somebody sees your story, it's like a different type of connection. Like, what that person's going through, life be life, and let's just get through it together as a team. Let's get this money together.
Right.
Let's make opportunities. So I love that. It's beautiful that the way you're creating your team and the mindsets that you guys have and everything you guys share. A lot of people, a lot of agencies won't. They're just in it like, we need this model, we need to get paid, and that's it, because it's the structure of the business. And for you, I'm receiving that it's more of the message, the relationships. All that matters more than what that paycheck's gonna look like. At the end of the day, you still got to get your money, but how you gonna have a team if you're gonna talk to them shitty or you're gonna treat them shitty? Then you're gonna end up doing it all by yourself with no models, or constantly getting new models, and you don't want that. You want to build with a team. Describe the feeling when you're on a production set or a shoot working with your team and your models.
Oh, that feeling is undescribable. Literally, it's the most fascinating to see everybody like work together. And you think that feeling is dope. It's seeing the pictures afterwards. That just the creation of it, like our ideas and what we're building, the portfolios, or whether it's a high fashion shoot, e-commerce, or beauty shoot. It feels good because I literally look around sometimes and I'm like, yo, I built this. Like, this is my team.
Yeah.
Like, I have the model, photographer, the studio, this, that. So it feels really good. I'm super proud of myself. And I know there's more work to be done, so I don't get too comfortable. But I'm very happy thus far of what we're doing and what we're building.
Yeah.
It takes a lot because, it's not like I'm being funded or like I have investors. It's all coming out of my pocket. So it's a lot, but it's all worth it. Like when I'm on set, I feel like it's just like a kid in the candy store.
Do you ever feel like the team go and like have that moment of smiling? Yeah.
I get goosebumps. Sometimes I get goosebumps.
I think
most of the time I do. Especially if it's like a model that's about to get placed to a bigger agency, and we've gotten to this moment where they are at their peak, like can move behind the camera, have done commercials, and we're ready to place them. It's just an amazing feeling that I was able to build this model, from the ground up. So.
Yeah, you were the connection.
Yeah, it's just dope.
What qualities do you look for when recruiting models, and how important is diversity?
So my process is very simple. You don't have to be a people person to engage. And when I have casting calls, like we just had a casting call last month, and out of the 12 models that actually spoke, out of the others, you leave an imprint. You got to make an introduction. A lot of the models came in, didn't say much, just moves to the back, left their picture and started walking. They just listened, they didn't talk. Then there was others that came in. Hi, my name is so and so. I'm from New Jersey. I'm this and this. I've been modeling for 4 to 5 years. Like they came in and spoke to us. That says a lot off rip. That just shows me that when I'm not around, like you're able to introduce yourself and represent my agency and yourself because we're both a brand. You're a brand and I'm a brand.
Exactly.
So that's the first thing I always assess is like their introduction to us. Let's see how they introduce themselves. You know, obviously nerves are kicking in. I get that, but fix it. You know, we're human too. Like show me, you know, and then that's really how I also determine certain factors. And when it comes to diversity, I don't really look at that. I look at more of the technical stuff. The walk, can they pose? They look like they're good on camera. All that other diversity will happen with fashion, the creative shoots that we build with them. But I encourage masculine models to come in and try out. And I had a little more this time try out than last year. So that's how I know that the word is getting out, you know, and people are actually, oh my God, there's an agency for us. Let's, you know, let's go try out. But yeah, that's how I determine it. Just introductions on casting calls and just seeing how the models interact with us. Like their first impression is my first impression. So,
Right.
you know.
And if you're a good fit, you're a good fit.
Absolutely.
Talk about networking, finding collaborators to play in your journey. Some of your listed clients are Tomboy X, New Balance, Puma, BMW, and many more. How does it feel to achieve these business relationships and have your models come in?
It feels amazing because, like I said, I made those connections.
Yeah.
I'm the one that's always talking. I'm the one that's always emailing. I'm the one that's always promoting. I'm the one that's always in the rooms at the right times. I've been very thankful to get the opportunities and that clientele. It took a little bit. But it was all worth it. And like I said, networking is key. Like, you got to talk.
Yeah.
You got to be able to show up and pass out cards, bring models with, you know, to different events so they can see your talent, and just keep promoting the marketing, the ads, reels, you know, make a cool campaign and just promote. IG is it right now.
Yeah.
Reels is it. Like, once you got the marketing game on smash, everything else is gold.
You're always posting, man. I noticed that.
I'm always posting.
Yeah.
I'm always posting. So, you know, it's just, you know, I wish it was a little bit reverse where there was more events happening.
Yeah.
But, you know, Instagram is king right now, so we got to make it work.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's cool, though. It's cool.
How do you balance creativity, your creativity, your business, and your mental health?
I do take days off. I'm not
Okay.
going to lie. I do take some days off. There's days that I feel it, that I have a headache that I've had for the past 3 days, and I know it's because I need to chill. I'm sitting there trying to break up, you know, my week. I have my 9 to 5 in the morning. I work in a hospital. I'm a medical assistant, so I'm dealing with patients all day. I'm talking all day. I work with kids. I love kids. So from 9 to 5, I'm doing that, and then from 6 on, I have my food reviews. So depending on the days, I book 3 to 4 a week, and then I go home and I edit that same night. All my videos or that video. Like if I have 2 reviews, I'm editing both of them.
That's discipline.
Yeah, so I get that done. And then the weekends is usually for the agency. I'll have model classes on the weekends, photo shoots, coaching classes, depending on the days, or I'll break them up where it's the morning, 10 a.m. to 12, I have a modeling class, and then I'm going back to the city from 2 to 5 to do a shoot with one of the models. So I try to balance myself everywhere out. And then there's weekends where I just take the whole Sunday off and I just relax. Or I'll kind of know when my wife's off, and I'll spend the weekend with her. She's a nurse, so every other weekend. So I try to always be around every other weekend so I can spend time with her too. So it's well balanced right now, but it took some time to get here.
Right.
It took some time.
I'm sure it did.
It took some time for me to formulate this formula that I got going on, but it works. It works, and everybody's happy. You know, mentally, I'm good.
Home is happy.
Yeah. I just be home, man.
Yeah.
I just be home.
Happy home.
Yeah.
They say happy life. Happy wife.
Happy wife. It's the truth. It's the truth.
Oh, they're going to get us.
Yes. You got one of those. You know how that
I
goes.
know. Oh, man. How do you balance rational business decisions when you feel emotionally or mentally off?
Hand it off to my team. For the most part, all my decisions I run through my team. I don't really make decisions without them or question something with them. And I do that for multiple reasons.
Yeah.
They're there because I need the team. So I feel like making a decision without them is like defeats the purpose. Like, what are we here for? You know? And there's times maybe smaller decisions I'll make, but for the most part, I run everything through my team. That's why they're there.
The
You
feedback
know?
is
Oh, absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. Especially certain things that I'm still learning and still dipping into. Like, I still need, that advice.
Yeah, and the guidance. I
Yeah,
think it
for sure.
helps. Starting a business can be huge. Personal growth. It could be a huge personal growth experience. And in what ways have you changed or evolved as a person since your journey started?
Oh my God, I definitely can say a little more patience,
Mm.
much more patience. I mean, I'm patient as it is now, but much more patient. Just understanding that things take time.
Yeah.
You know, I don't rush the process anymore. I've learned that the process taking its time is better than rushing the process because things just get out of whack. You know, when you're rushing something and you're not really thinking about all the ins and outs. And again, that's why my team's there. So just being more patient and being more just how can you say I can't find the right word right now, but for sure definitely communicating more and being more patient on both two things.
Got it. Do you see like the growth in yourself too?
Oh yeah, for sure. I definitely I'm more in tune with other things and learning more as I go because yeah, I'm a business owner. I own a business. I'm a CEO of a company, but it doesn't mean that I can't learn more
Right.
or that I can't grasp another idea from somebody else or that, there's books that I read, there's shows on YouTube that I watch and I learn from other CEOs. But yeah, even as a person, just growing and understanding like there's multiple roles, multiple things that could be done, how to maximize what we have right now. How do we maximize what we have right now? How can we be different than other agencies? And that's what I'm doing with the agency is making it a unique business model that people are not used to. So, just reading and just making my mind work
Right.
a little more.
At least you're not a gatekeeper. Like I see that you like to share knowledge.
Oh, I
Knowledge
love to share knowledge. What?
Yeah.
I'll be the one. What you need? Sit down. Let's talk. I'll tell you what I know. Yeah, absolutely. I feel like that's the problem in this world.
Yep.
And when it comes to business and dealing with other people and networking, everybody wants to gatekeep and just keep the secrets to themselves. I don't understand.
I don't understand it ever either. It's
don't get it. I don't get it. You will build so much more with sharing knowledge and as you share knowledge, you also obtain knowledge at the same time. People don't understand that. I love to learn. I love to be told you should do this, you should do that because it makes me better.
All right.
In all aspects. I love that.
I think support goes a long way. Like people love the support but don't do the same or like just won't hit a like, won't hit a share, won't be like, oh, you've been doing good. I mean, I think support comes from strangers. Does come from family and friends, but also sometimes the biggest support comes from strangers. So.
It always comes from strangers.
Yeah.
Always more than strangers than anything. As I'm growing my platform, I see it more and more every day.
How do you handle burnouts?
Alcohol.
The shot, the drink.
Basically, just like I said, just taking days. I try not to get to that burnout phase because I've been in that burnout phase in the very beginning, and that was bad. The crash outs, just the overthinking and the
anxiety that comes with it.
Yeah, just thinking that this wasn't gonna work, that no one was gonna take me serious, or that just not thinking that I was gonna be accepted in this industry, and what I'm doing. And there's some evil people out there, man. There's some evil, shady ass people out there. And I know that dealing with models, female models, and looking at how I am and being in certain rooms with certain models or certain people always want to talk, just create stories or create gossip, and you got to be ready for that. So
how do you handle that?
Honestly, I try to keep everything professional. I try to show up and just show people in different ways that what they're thinking is absolutely wrong. And I always prove everybody wrong. I always get the last laugh. Always. That's one thing about me is I always get the last laugh.
Do you feel silence is powerful sometimes?
Oh, absolutely.
And not reactive, not being so...
That's how I've been moving. That's how I move, is in silence. Because you don't want to take into that. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? You're doing so well. And this is general. You do so well. You're moving. You know, I know the support that I have. I know my support system. I know my people. I know I've created a village, and then that village is turning into a big community for me.
Hmm.
Not just for me, but the agency
Yeah.
and for everything that I do. And I get compliments left and right about what I'm doing, the encouragement, the motivation. So at the end of the day, you got to know who you are. And once you know who you are, ain't nothing out there can break you. Ain't nothing out there can break you. Anything. And that silence is like, what? Like, there's no budge. Like, there's no way to break you.
Yeah.
If you're not talking about it, then move on.
Exactly. We'll move on to the next project.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. Can you recall a specific moment when you truly made it or overcame a major milestone?
I'm going to be honest. I would say, as the new owner, that I got my first big gig.
Mm.
The first 6 months of me owning this agency, my first big gig that I landed for the agency, and 5 of my models was Puma and Snipes and BMW.
Wow.
Being on set and just looking around, 30 different cameramans, 80 different models, cars, the branding, the makeup artists, to know that I put my models in this position, in this ad, and to see it in stores. That was my biggest milestone, because that told me right there that I could do anything. Like, if I did this, I could do anything. And it wasn't just one model, it was multiple models.
Right.
So that right, and one of them was my wife.
You putting your wife on at the same time. It's
so
beautiful.
That was I was on set like full of emotion, because I was like, wow, like I could do this.
Yeah.
And
Speechless.
From there it's been the history.
What advice would you give to entrepreneurs who are struggling with mental health issues or feeling overwhelmed by the demands of their business?
Oh wow. I would say, honestly, always just think about your why. Think about your why.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times I thought about why I did this, why I took over the business, why I'm continuing to do it, and always the positive, always all the bad. You know, when you have a passion for something and you really love what you do, like they say, you're not really working.
Mm-hmm.
And I think always just to sit back and just breathe and just write, journal everything, how you feeling, you know, what's bothering you, what can you do to better that, and then obviously having a supportive spouse.
Yeah.
You know, some of us don't have that. Luckily, we do.
Yeah.
So when it's our time to break and we have that person to let us know it's okay, that overthinking, man, a lot of people overthink. And it's just because the outside world be judging for no reason. Or people can't move like us. People can't do what we do.
Yeah.
And they envy. So what they do is start throwing rocks at the glass house. You feel me?
Try to break it.
Right. So it's up to us to keep it up.
Do you journal?
I do journal. I do.
Okay.
I do journal. I'm big on manifestation.
Mm.
I have a Buddha at home. You know, I'm big on rocks and, you know, just theory. And, you know, I like to just be very in tune with my bubble.
Energy.
Sage.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. I've seen it work. It works. When you believe in something and it's yours, it's yours.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm very big on that. So I just say, honestly, journal, vent, you know, just think about your why. I've always thought about quitting. And if I sit there and I think about why I want to do this and how far I've come, I don't drop it. I keep moving.
Are there any upcoming projects you want to speak on, if you can?
Sure. So the future for the modeling agency is obviously to get a space. I would love to get a big agency space, you know, in Jersey, get a warehouse, multiple rooms, everything very high definition, very high tech, hold events for communities, you know, do like food drives with the agency. I want the agency to sponsor a lot of their small different companies. I want to hold different, you know, community-based events. I want to be able to support the small businesses, maybe throw events at the space. Do photo shoots for some of the businesses, like raffles and stuff like that. Like, I always want to be able to use my resources to help others.
Yeah.
Something like that. And then working on a very big commercial for the agency. That's going to be my next project. And then we have some big brands coming up, which I'm not going to say.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it, man.
We got some
Stay
big
tuned.
brands coming up. Yeah.
I think my last question for you, man, it's been a beautiful story, but I always ask every guest this question.
Right.
If you can go back in time and speak to your younger self, what would you say?
Wow. Wow. Definitely, for sure, to continue to live your truth and follow your dreams. and just to keep inspiring. Just keep doing you. Keep smiling. Keep laughing. Keep just live your life.
Let them know where they can find you, your Instagram, your socials, all of it, your
Right. So you
website.
guys can find me on the business JamilaReineModels.com, Jamila Reine Models for Instagram, Facebook as well, and my Instagram is at Sha So Smooth, OOV, and
Yeah.
TikTok, we're all over.
Appreciate you. Thank you for taking the time to get on Orange Cups podcast,
Of
man.
course.
It's
This
been
was
a
dope.
pleasure.
This was amazing. Thank you so much. Your platform is phenomenal.
I appreciate
You
that.
got to keep going.
Thank you.
Keep doing your thing. This is amazing.
That was amazing, man.
Of course. Thank you so much.